No, it's not a UFO. This is the new Toyota C-HR, complete with black plastic bumpers. You know it's a stock standard car when it comes with black plastic bumpers. Pretty rare these days actually. If you see the upper spec models, the futuristic design all makes sense. But in rental spec GXL form as we have here, it looks odd and kind of intriguing. In any case, this is the second generation model sitting in Toyota's showroom as a coupe style SUV. The rear end looks quite unique, with a steeply raked C-pillar and a cool 3D style tail light, running LEDs. A discrete C-HR logo sits in the middle. All models in Australia feature a hybrid powertrain. The GXL and the Cobra are front-wheel drive, while the GR Sport variant gets an all-wheel drive setup with 146 kilowatts. All feature a boring CVT auto. The GXL also gets these unique 17-inch alloy wheels to help separate it from the Cobra, which uses flashier 19s. Inside, this is a basic but well-made and interesting package. The dashboard has all kinds of futuristic shapes and shards pointing out at you, but surprisingly, it is rather practical. I like the rubber lining for pretty much all of the storage cavities and shelves. And although the seats are wrapped in cloth trim, it feels warm and cozy. The front seats provide some lateral support, but they aren't overly sporty. A good fit for the base model anyway. Rear seat room is okay as the seat length is decent, and you have convenient little cup holders in the doors. But unfortunately, there are no climate vents in the back of the console, and the high windowsill, paired with a thick C-pillar, means visibility back here isn't the best. Not the ideal car for running around kids prone to car sickness. Right up at the back, the boot measures in at a reasonable 388 litres. The rear seats fold down completely flat to open up more space, but absolute clearance in terms of height isn't as good as some conventional upright SUVs, including the Corolla Cross and RAV4. That's just a trade-off for the coupe profile. Under the floor is a space-saver spare wheel and some additional storage buckets. There's nothing really special about this powertrain. However, unlike some hybrids out there, I won't name any names, GWM and MG, this offers repeatable performance. And the real-world economy is excellent, getting very close to its official claim of just 4 litres per 100 kilometres. Now this is how you engineer a vehicle in terms of chassis and suspension dynamics, in my opinion. This is beautiful. It strikes a nice balance between sportiness but comfort as well. On the way out to the private road where I do the performance testing, there's this little bump in the road, and I reckon of all the cars that I test, 70% of them just give off, or go through this bump and they just give off some level of uneasiness or, you know, a very small reduction in chassis confidence. This is one of the 30% that goes through perfectly fine. It just catches the bump, it's aware the bump is there, catches it, and regains complete composure straight away. Now, some traditional Toyota buyers or owners, you know, if you've got an old Camry or something like that, might think that this is a little bit too firm, and I'm talking just a little bit too firm, but I would rather a setup like this. I think a setup like this is better in the long run. It's going to be safer, especially in Australia where we're encountering rough roads all the time with unexpected bumps and potholes and so on. This, you've got complete confidence that the chassis won't stuff you around and throw you any surprises. In terms of the powertrain, yeah, it's pretty boring. You know, it's just a hybrid system with a CVT automatic. But as you can see, it's averaging 4.7 litres per 100 kilometres. That's after I've done performance testing. In the real world, that is too. So I reckon you could get that down even lower with extended normal use, which is amazing. You know, you see all these other hybrids come out. They're pretty good, but you know, they'll average 6 or something in the real world. This is already showing 4.7, which is just amazing. The performance isn't that exciting, but it does okay, as you'll see in the performance test. Yeah, I think if you really wanted the performance, or an enhanced performance, go for the GR Sport model. It's got more power and all-wheel drive. This is front-wheel drive only. In other areas of the driving characteristics, the visibility out the front is very good, but that weird sort of coupe shape that it's got going on does mean the rear visibility is a bit tighter than a conventional, more upright SUV. But that's what this vehicle is targeting, I guess, a sort of sporty profile. And then the dash is all, yeah, very futuristic as well. But all the controls are very intuitive, right within reach of your arm's length, including all the climate controls on a separate panel down here. and then your steering wheel buttons as well. They're a bit confusing sometimes, or some sections, like this little 4-axis pad here that goes through the different settings within the instrument cluster. It just takes some getting used to, I think. But yeah, I think there is some room for improvement there, just in functionality and ease of use. This does come with a driver monitoring camera as part of the new regulations, ANCAP regulations. I think this is one of the best ones actually. It's not over the top, and I like the warning. It's just this very light, pleasant boom, like just saying that, yeah, it's noticed that you're not paying attention or whatever. Still very frustrating. I think they're a pointless technology, clever, but not practical in the real world. I had some tape over it before. As you'll see in the upcoming 0 to 100 test, the tape just sends a message, or triggers a message saying, sit upright. Overall, I think Toyota has done an excellent job with the new C-HR for this style of vehicle. I personally would rather something like the Corolla Cross or the RAV4, which has got a lot more room, a bit more practicality, but you know, it doesn't have that sporty look. So if you are after a sporty look, you're not particularly looking for a family car, but you want, you know, maybe a second car, or you're, you know, a senior or something like that, and you just want a nice practical runaround that's got a bit of a, you know, enthusiastic edge in terms of the styling, then this is definitely a great option. Just up here we've got a very poorly surfaced road, so we can check out if that suspension is too firm to remain comfortable on very ordinary roads. I don't think it will be though, but let's see. It's just up here. A lot of patchwork and all sorts of stuff going on. Okay, here we go. The steering is remaining very planted and stable. It's not jiggling about. Yeah, that's perfect. In my opinion, that is exactly what you want from a vehicle like this. Slightly sporty, as I said, and some people might initially get in and go, well, this is a tiny bit too firm, especially if you've jumped out of some old clapper that's got, you know, the suspension of a mattress. But I think the offshoot there is you're getting excellent stability when you need it most. All right, let's head out now to do the performance test and see what it goes like. By the way, these runs aren't actually timed with the V-Box, it's just video, purely video. I'll do the V-Box runs further down where there's some dry patches.